Okay, I'm reading now from the Gospel of John chapter 17, and I'm going to pick up at verse 18. And the Messiah, Yahusha, is speaking here. He's praying to the Father. And he says in verse 18, "As thou hast sent me into the world, even so I also send them." And talking about his disciples. And of course, this also applies to you and I. He says, "I send them into the world, and for their sakes I separate myself, that they might be set apart through the truth. Neither pray I for these alone." Now this is important here, because you begin to understand that this is not just a prayer for the disciples, but it's a prayer for you and I. Listen to what he says here. He says, "Neither pray I for these alone, but for them which shall believe on me through their word." You and I, this prayer is directed toward just as well as to the disciples, because the Messiah said right here that he was praying for them, but he also was praying for them that would believe on him through their word. In other words, the words that the disciples were proclaiming and preaching to those, not only just in his day, but down through the centuries, those that would believe on the Mashiach. Then this prayer is applicable to you and I. This applies to you and I. And there's some things here that if you read through them, you understand that you know that Yahusha, whatever he prayed, the Father answered his prayers, of course. So let's find out here what some of the things he prayed about. Now here's one thing that I want to bring out is, let me just continue reading down through here. He said, verse 21, "That they all may be one, as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they may be one in us, and that they may believe that you have sent me." So he's praying that we all would be one, just as the Father and the Mashiach, the Messiah, are one, the Son are one, that we also will be one with them. And how do we become one with them? We do through the Ruach HaKodesh that makes us one with them. And then he says in verse 22, "And the glory which you have given me, I have given them." Did you hear that? The glory that the esteem that was given to the Son said that he had given to us. And he says that they may be one, even as we are one. And then in verse 23 says, "I in them and you in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me and has loved them as you have loved me." Now I've got to go back and read this verse again, because this verse here, most people would not believe this unless they saw it in the scriptures here. It says, verse 23, "I in them and you in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me," but listen to this, "and has loved them." Them is talking about you and I. "And has loved them as you have loved me." In other words, what he's saying here, Father, I pray that the world may know that you do love them just as much as you love me. Now, most people, you may have a problem with that. You may have a problem trying to believe that. But this is the truth. This is the word of Yahuwah. And it declares that he loves us as he loves Yahusha. And so with that knowledge and that understanding of that, if you would believe that, then you would have confidence in your prayers. You would have confidence and you would have, the scripture says, "Perfect love casteth out fear." If you're being tormented by fear of, a lot of people are a lot afraid of a lot of things. I mean, there's more things than you can name sometimes about the fears that people deal with. But the scriptures declares that Yahuwah has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. And so the more that you have understanding and knowledge of the love of Yahuwah, then perfect love will cast all fear out of your life. See, I don't fear a lot of things a lot of people fear, because I know who I belong to, and I know how much Yahuwah loves me. Not because I'm such a good person, or not such because I do certain things, or because I preach and teach his word. That's not based upon that. It's based upon the revelation and the understanding that I have because the scripture declares right here in this verse, in John chapter 17, verse 23, spoken by the Messiah, by the Mashiach, that we would know that the Father loves us as he loves Yahusha. And because I believe that, that brings such comfort and such strength to me and confidence, knowing that my Father watches over me. And the scripture declares, without faith it's impossible to please him. For he that comes to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Thank you for your time today. Shalom.